Good morning and welcome. My name is Jessica. I use she and her pronouns, and we're going to get through a nice full body, gentle practice today. And so for props today, I've got 2 blocks. I've also got a bolster and a cushion for my knees. We are going to be holding some postures a little bit longer, but we're going to keep it really gentle. So bring all of the props that you might have around to practice. If you don't have a bolster, if you don't have blocks, you can use a water bottle, you can use pillows, blankets, just get creative. But take a moment to grab everything that you have that could support your practice, and we will get started standing. So we'll give you a moment. Now we're going to start with some standing postures and then make our way down to the ground. So once you are ready to get going, let's stand up nice and tall. Close the eyes or bring the gaze down to relax. Soften the shoulders. Chin comes down slightly. I want the back of the neck to be nice and long. Let the fingers extend towards the ground, and the arms are heavy at the sides of the body. And follow your next inhale into the body. Notice where it stops. Notice where it expands through the body. Notice the way your body receives that breath. Does it extend a little bit through the rib cage, through the belly, maybe through the chest? And then allow the body to sink down into the earth, to settle down on the exhale. On the next inhale in, notice any place in the body you're holding on to tension, any place that feels tight. Sigh it out if that feels good. We're going to take maybe another minute here just to kind of tune into the breath and to hopefully find a little connection between the mind and the body. Notice how the expanse of the inhale makes you feel right now. Notice if it pulls something that's tender. Maybe you feel this in the back of the body. And as you breathe, slowly deepen the breath and make the breath a little bit slower with ease if you can. And if you're having a difficult time tuning into the subtlety of the breath and how it moves your body, try to slow the breath down even more. Try to make that inhale a little slower. I feel my cat munching. I don't know if he's showing up on camera, but he's eating. The ants are back. They're here, and so we had to move the cat food into this area of the house. I'm sure you've dealt with ants at some point in your home when it gets hot. A few more breaths like this, noticing the sounds inside of your space, inside of your room, whether that's my voice, the sound of my cat eating, or your partner's, or the sound of your pet, maybe trying to get your attention. Just kind of take it in, notice. And start to blink the eyes, open here. Let's roll the neck out a little bit. Rolling in one direction. And if your neck is really stiff, think of drawing little circles with your chin in one direction or the other. And sometimes shifting the focus from one part of the body to the other can kind of help the sensation a little bit. So if you're feeling a little tight in the neck, think of the chin and what it's doing. And just keep slowly moving in each direction 1 or 2 times, stopping If the feeling moves you to do so, if you feel something that feels good, invite your fingers into the mix. And all the while trying to maintain that breath that we've established. Let's find one more direction. One more time in each direction here. And stop to center. Let's step the feet out just a little bit wider. Maybe hip width distance or a little bit wider if that feels good. Reach the arms out, nice and slow. Reach them out as slowly as you can and then up and overhead. And we want to keep the chin tucked down towards the chest so the back of the neck is nice and long. Reach the fingertips up towards the sky, palms are open, lift the shoulders, lift the rib cage up off of the body. Big inhale here. And exhale, find a forward fold. So if you need to open the legs up a little wider, do so. You can bend the knees. You can allow the body to rest on top of the thighs. Bring the fingertips down to rest on the ground or on your legs. Maybe hook them behind the knees. Head kind of hangs down. Hamstrings are stretching. Few breaths here. Soften through the shoulders and the upper body. Let yourself hang here, resting the torso on the thighs, expressing the hamstrings and the back of the legs. On the next inhale, slowly peel yourself up, unfold from this forward fold. Shoulders lead the way. Come all the way up, reach the arms up and overhead. And hands to heart center on your exhale. Sigh it out if you want a little drama, if that feels good. Press the thumbs into the body here. Palms pressed together, elbows are out. We can heel toe or step the feet in together here. Close the eyes, we'll come back to the breath. So slowly waking the body up here. Bring your awareness to the back of the thighs. Soften your knees here, so notice if they're locked out. And just kind of invite a little bend in the knees. Slight bend. Chest is forward, shoulder blades come down the spine. Holding the breath here. And breathing. Noticing if your body is swaying from side to side, if you feel unstable at all, and just trusting you're grounded. We're just standing here. Sometimes closing the eyes can change our sensation, can change our balance. Blink the eyes open, draw the arms down towards the side. We'll find one-legged mountain here. So finding your focal point, eyes come down to the ground, something that you can stare at. We'll start by kickstanding the right foot. You can stay here. You can keep the foot, the ball of the toes grounded. Wherever you are, palms forward. Roll the shoulders up towards the ears and down to the spine. Chest is forward. Pelvis is squared off. And option to come to the tippy toes or to lift the foot and flex and balance on that left grounded foot. So here's fine, here's fine. Whatever works for you. If you're taking the floating version, squeeze the knee and the heel to the middle line of the body. Try to bring that knee up a little higher if the foot is floating. And squeeze everything to the midline, and if you lose your balance, come back to it. Roll the shoulders away from the ears. And we'll find one more breath here. Pressing the big toe of the grounded foot down for stability. Point the toe, slide the foot down, relax, shake it out. We'll get right into this on the other side. So again, eyes to your focal point, to your drishti. Palms forward, shoulders down but firm, chest is open. Squeeze everything to the middle. Press the big toe down of the grounded foot. Find your stability. Maybe lift the knee higher if you're floating that foot up. Ooh, relax, step down, point the toe, shake it out. Notice where you picked up tension to hold that posture. We're gonna get right into it on the other side. Again, palms forward, shoulders back, chest is strong. Eyes are locked on the focal point. Keep that floating foot flexed if you're floating the foot. Squeeze everything to the middle. You got this. Strong and supported by the earth, by your body, by your mind, by your breath. One more breath. And exhale, point the foot, step the heel down, shake it out. One more time, other side. Take your time finding the position that suits you today on this side in this moment. Soften the face. As soon as you notice unnecessary tension kicks up in your body, let it go. Find one more breath here. Point the toe, slide the heel down, shake it out. Step the feet open a little bit wider. Inhale, reach the arms open. Gaze is still locked into your drishti. Heels are pivoted in, toes are out slightly. Soft bend in the knees. So reaching the fingertips out as if you're reaching for something. We want the muscles like right under the armpit to be doing all this work. The shoulders, of course, are doing work too, but the emphasis isn't lifting high with the shoulders. It's kind of maintaining this extension. Keep breathing here, slight bend in the knees, reach the arms up and overhead. And on the exhale, fold forward, bend through the knees. Let the body settle wherever it wants. Hands rest wherever makes sense. You can also bring your blocks in here. In fact, if you have a block, let's grab for it here. Blocks are great for bringing the ground closer. Let's bend into the right knee and extend the left leg. We want to feel this extension through the inner thigh. And then opposite side. And then back and move through this at your own pace. Really focus on like sitting the booty back and down. Especially if you feel this strongly in your knees. Really sit that booty back instead of bending down, bend back. Torso comes down towards the thigh. Just as effective. Find this a few more times. Moving nice and slow. And then we'll come back to center, reach those arms out. 5-pointed star, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward, forward fold. Bring the hands down to the block here. And then with the block on whatever setting makes sense, I'm gonna put mine on the high one, I think, or maybe the medium. Plant your left hand onto the block, and the block should be kind of like right under your face. And we're gonna find a little twist. So you can keep the opposite hand on the hip, or you can reach it up for the sky and think of stacking the shoulders on top of each other. And breathe here. Bending into that left knee is necessary. And then bring it down on an exhale. Inhale, other side. And exhale, back down to center, forward fold. And then on the next inhale, start to make your way back up. Feeling the hands up the body, reaching the arms up and out and overhead. And exhale, hands to heart center, nice and slow. Heel toeing the feet back together or just stepping in. Hands to the body here. So we bring one hand to heart center, one hand to the body. Soften the eyes and come back into the breath. What's the first sensation that comes to mind that you're feeling right now? Maybe it's like, maybe you're sweating like me and you feel the dampness on your skin that feels cooling. Maybe you feel warmth in the low back from those twists that we just did. Whatever is screaming out to you the loudest, whatever you feel, whatever sensation is the strongest, just take a few breaths to honor it, to explore it, to peel back the layer. Maybe a part of your body that is feeling the sensation the most needs a rest. Maybe it needs to be explored or expressed more. Just see what this means to you today. Check under the hood. This is your opportunity to kind of see what this is, to explore this, to really honor your body and its process. Last breath here. Release the hands. Blink your eyes open. Let's step to the front of the mat and find a quick standing, finish our quick standing sequence, which we've already started. So we're gonna get into some warrior. So find your mountain pose here. Roll the shoulders up towards the ears and down the spine. Arms down at the side, gaze comes straight forward ahead. We'll find one-legged mountain again. So let's get set up here. Find your focal point. Bend through the right knee, keep it kickstanded or lift to float. If you're floating, flex the toes up towards your face. Roll the shoulders back, chest is open, fingertips are active. One more breath here. And exhale, start to step back. We'll find warrior two. So slowly pivot that floating leg back. Back foot is at an angle. Left knee is bent. Arms come out for warrior two. It took me a second to remember where I was going. I got lost for a minute. Reach out, find your warrior two. Reach forward. Leave the lower body the way it is. Reach the fingertips forward. Let the torso go with it. And then reach back. Reverse warrior. Come back to warrior two. Inhale, reach forward. And exhale, reverse. Inhale, warrior two. Reach forward on that same inhale. Exhale. Inhale, warrior two. Reach forward. You're doing great. Exhale, reverse. Inhale, back to center. Let's find this on the other side. So pivot, the back foot becomes the front foot. You know the deal. Bend into that knee. And look down at the knee. We didn't do this on the other side, but look on this knee and notice if it's caving inwards towards the big toe. If that's the case, just kind of press it out to track over the pinky toe and feel the difference that makes. Inhale, bring the arms up, relax the shoulders down, reach forward. And exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reach. Get into that inner thigh as you reach forward. So make this as fluid as you can in your body. And make sure your breath is moving. It's not being hung up or held. Press into that front thigh, that front heel. Ooh. One more time. Inhale, warrior two. Reach forward. Hands to the waist. Let's pivot back towards the front of the mat. Shake it out here. Hands to heart center. Big inhale. Exhale. Bring the hands down. One-legged mountain on the other side here. So left foot kickstands, knee bends. Option to bring the leg up or the foot up. Flex the toes. Roll the shoulders back. Chest is open. Right big toe mounts down strong into the earth, supporting you here. And release, step the foot back down. Inhale, reach up, upward salute. Lift the rib cage up. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Spine is long, gaze comes right down. Fold. Inhale, lift up. Almost like you're coming in through a chair. So sit the booty back, slowly take a pause, and then lift up. And really at the top, squeeze your butt so you extend fully the hip flexors in front. Reach up and then soften. Hands at heart center. We're going to make our way to some lunges. So if you've got some support, go ahead and grab it here. I'm going to take a moment to get mine in order. Upward salute at the top of the mat when you are ready. Exhale, fold. And from this forward fold, I will grab the blocks to be under my palms, and I'm going to step back with the right foot to the toes, and then slowly lower down onto the knee for a little bit of a low lunge. So my blocks are going to help me bring the ground a little bit closer to my hands. And so if you're sitting up in this lunge and you're directly on top of your knee here, maybe walk this front foot up a little bit and out so that you're on the top of the knee and not directly, or in the front of the knee and not directly on top of the knee. So framing the foot here, or you can have the hands on the inside of the foot, whatever works in your body. I want you to think of scooping the tailbone under and sending your hips down towards the ground. The back foot is nice and relaxed. Your face is soft. Your breath is moving. Your sweat might be dripping. Might be a little drippy. And then let's find half splits from here. So start to lift the hips, send them back, and we want to lengthen through this front leg, pressing the heel down into the ground and flexing the toes up. You might need to play with your placement here, but I want you to avoid sending the hips all the way down to the heel and really focus on digging this front heel down and flexing the toes up, and even more so, sending the hip back. So I'll take my ring and pointer finger, or my middle and pointer finger, into my hip flexor of this front hip and press it back. And that will help you, if you do this on your body, it'll help you to feel the extension in the back of the leg. And after another breath, let's come back to this lunge. Sending the hips down. Maybe lifting off of the ground, maybe reaching the arms up or back. And then from here, I'm going to bring both of my hands to the inside of my foot and then heel toe this left foot back and swing the knee back so I'm on tabletop position. And we'll step forward with the right leg here. So take a breath, extend the leg, toes come to the ground. And then on the exhale, swing it forward. Just like with the other side, we'll frame the foot or bring the hands to the inside of the foot. And then start to think of scooping the tailbone and sitting the hips down. Breath is moving. Do not hold your breath. Let gravity pull you a little bit deeper and your hands keep you from going too deep. And on the next breath, slowly start to lift the hips back and extend through this front leg. So if you need to place that leg in a different position, no shame. Find that here. Dig this front heel down into the ground, toes flex up. Pointer and middle finger into the hip crease here. Get us a little more room to extend. And if you can, try to keep the spine long. Notice if you're like really hunched down and lift up. That's really where the blocks are helpful for me and maybe for you too. Inhale, start to bend forward, come back into that low lunge. Maybe we change the hands if we're feeling like we want a different option. And then let's bring the hands to the inside. Let's shimmy the right foot out and over and find our tabletop position. And then from here, we'll find a child's pose. So from tabletop position, take the knees nice and wide. Wide enough for your body, for your torso to come through the knees. And I like to use a bolster here under the body, but you don't have to. And we want to send the hips towards the heels. Rest the body down, extend the arms. Or you can fold the arms and rest them on your forehead, or rest your forehead on your arms. This is really about stretching the lower body, opening the hips, stretching the quads, stretching the tops of the feet even. Notice if you can feel your heart beating into your props or to the mat or to the earth. And we can recognize that just by noticing that life force inside of you, the beating of your heart, and sitting with it in stillness, you are honoring your body, you're practicing yoga. So take a few more breaths here in this posture. Send your hips back a little bit deeper periodically. Take a water break here if you need to, or grab your towel. And allow your breath to permeate your entire body, the front of the body, the back of the body. Even think about that breath coming to the tips of the toes. Encouraging your blood to circulate, encouraging the lymphatic system to move. Take another breath here and start to lift yourself up back to our tabletop position. Take your time. We're going to get into the hips a little bit more. Coming back into our little lunge situation, and then taking it into a variation on pigeon from there. So if you have prop, a block, a bolster, a pillow, whatever you have, make sure it's accessible to you here, because we'll definitely need it. Or we'll most likely need it, depending on your preferences. So coming up onto the knees, standing onto the knees, hands on the hips. Gaze is going to come a couple feet ahead on the mat. I want you to visualize where you're going to step the left foot up. So think about where your left foot's going to land. Take an inhale, shift the weight into the right leg, the right knee, and step forward. If the foot didn't get there to where you were visualizing, or you visualized wrong, just kind of fix it here. Make adjustments, make sure that foot is where it needs to be so that you feel nice and grounded here. The back foot is pressing down into the earth. We're gonna send the hips down towards the mat like we did before. Framing the foot. Spine stays as tall as we can keep it. Breathe here. And on the exhale, half splits or runner stretch. Flex the toes up towards your face, dig the heel down. You know the drill, send that hip flexor back on the left side. Come back into the lunge. And so here's where things get interesting. I'm going to introduce my bolster right here. I am sliding it close to my right leg. This is what works for my body. So from here, I'm going to shimmy this left foot from the left side of the mat to the right side. And I'm going to come down for my pigeon this way. So if you're watching me before you start this, I get to about here, and then I have to pick up my heel and kind of encourage it down to the ground. And then from here, I can bring my knee and my shin down, and I'm resting on this bolster. So if your pillow is not strong enough, if you don't have a bolster, a block right up underneath the right hip works just as fine. It's not as cushy, it's not as luxurious, but it's definitely supportive. So we're kind of just finding a softer pigeon pose. Hopefully one that we can hang out in a little bit longer with a little more ease. So sit up tall here, and then option to recline down. Again, you can use another pillow or blocks to bring the ground closer if the ground feels very far here. And let the back foot relax. Soften the face. And keep the breath moving in and out. And allow the awareness to hang out in any place that feels sticky or uncomfortable in your body. This kind of targets, like, in some bodies, the psoas area or the sciatic area. So if you have any issues in those areas, this might feel super, super intense. And if you need to come out of it, that is always an option. But if it's just a little uncomfortable, we can sit with that. We can breathe through that. We can honor that just the same way or similarly to the way that we honor joy and pleasure in our body. And start to make our way up from this posture. You can come out of this however you want. I like to curl the back toe under and bring my hands down to the earth, kind of like I'm preparing for downward dog. And then I kind of press my weight forward into the palms, come onto that front knee, and lift myself up from there. And then come back to the tabletop position. I've shimmied my prop out of the way throughout that whole thing. So find out how that works for you. And then we'll meet back onto the knees here to find this on the other side. So when you're ready, take a breath, settle down, and we'll visualize again where we want that front foot to step. So hands on the waist. Kind of think about approximately where you want that foot to go. Take an inhale, and on the exhale, we'll shift into that lunge. Maybe send the hips down. Maybe reach the arms up. Take a few breaths here. Half splits here, slowly shift the hips back. Flex that front leg. Toes come up towards the face. Spine is long. Hips come back. And then let's come back to the lunge and find our variation on pigeon pose here. But the side's probably going to feel different. That's just how it is. So find your support, or just start to kind of heel toe that foot, the right foot from the right side to the left side. And as gracefully as you can, start to come down on that shin and the knee. There we go. So if you're using a block, the block comes up underneath the hip here, now that you have a better visual. And it's supportive too. The block is also very supportive. It's just not as supportive as having an entire bolster in the middle of the body supporting you. So yogi's choice, we work with what we have always. You don't have to be super fancy to have a practice that's accessible. You just have to be curious, maybe a little creative. Find out how you want to hang out here for the next minute or so. Ooh, this side is tight. Let that breath fill the belly up. Let that breath navigate through all the spaces that feel compressed. Encourage your breath to soften, to disarm all the muscles and the tendons and the tissues that compress, that move together to keep us safe, to keep us protected, to keep us mobile in our body. And just send them a little love note with the breath. Let them know it's okay to let go. They're safe, they're supported, we're not going to hurt them. This is a combat-free zone. Let the next couple of breaths take you deeper and deeper into this posture, into sitting with the fire that's burning, the fire that this posture has ignited. And just like that, you feel the sensation change or move or shift. Your attention, your intention, your effort is so powerful. It can literally move mountains. It can shift the sensation in your body and your mind. It can change your experience and your outcome. Start to press up with the inhale. Lift yourself out of this. Hands down to the ground. Maybe curl onto the back toe. Move your props out of the way. Come onto that front knee. And then let's find a child's pose again. So again, option to take the knees nice and wide. Send the hips back towards the heels. Rest the body down, let the arms come forward. Get lost in the sensation of your heart gently beating against the surface that supports you. Lift yourself up, come to tabletop position, and then slowly make your way onto your back. Take your time. Option to come down with a little boat pose. So if you would like to take that option, soles of the feet are down, knees are bent. Maybe the arms are extended or underneath the knees or top of the knees, and slowly start to roll back until you are on the ground. Roll the feet away from each other. Allow the arms to take up space. Roll the back of the head on the earth. Of course, if you feel any tension in the low back here, bend the knees or even bring your pillow underneath the thighs. I really like blocks under the thighs as well. That works in my body. Maybe blocks under the knees or just somewhere under the thighs. And the thing about props is sometimes where an instructor like myself suggests that they go doesn't work on your body for whatever reason, your anatomy or injuries or whatever. So just kind of getting curious and playing with different ways and positioning of your props is really, really helpful. Stay curious. Don't be afraid of looking silly. This is your practice, your body. Let your body really sink down into the earth. And start to kind of tune in to where you feel sensation in the body. Where is tightness? As you become aware of it, let it go. Are you holding your shoulders tight, or your jaw, or your neck, or your fingers? Are you trying to keep your toes upright and together and your thighs close? Let everything spill apart. Take up space. We spend so much time performing in this body to please other people, to ease our insecurity, our anxieties. Let's just be a bag of flesh here. In this moment, all that matters is this breath. Release your breath. Let it find its natural rhythm. No need to pull or push or extend. Let your tongue relax in the bottom of your mouth. Let your mind wander wherever it wants to go on its own. Take mental notes of any intrusive thoughts that may be calling for you to explore them deeper. And take power in understanding that you are the expert of you. You are the conductor of these thoughts. You can't stop them. You can't change them. But you can tell them where to go. You can engage them. You can dismiss them. You can feed them and make them stronger. You can starve them until they wither away into dust. I encourage you to do that to any thoughts that are untrue, any negative thoughts that take you away from being who you're meant to be. In your mind's eye here, with your eyes closed, begin to visualize an open field, a beautiful scene. It might be on the cliffside of an ocean. Maybe it's your favorite park or space you visited in reality or in your dreams. Visualize this open space being verdant and fertile and lush, but blank. There's no flowers blooming, there are no trees. It's still beautiful. And if for a moment you believe or imagine that this open space is your mind, what possibilities lie in this field? Which seeds have been planted? Through our practice of breath and stillness, and really focusing on these fluctuations of the mind, we can grow an amazing bounty in this space. Our intentions, our practice, or slowing down and just focusing on this space is what nurtures, is what fuels it. And this is a space where you can ground yourself and you can just be. And know that anytime you need a moment, anytime you find yourself at the end of your practice, you can always come here. The space is always there for you, created by your own design, nurtured by your own sense of being, of noticing, of acknowledging, of giving service and space and breath to this part of your life. I'll close our practice out today with the sound of Om. Feel free to stay in your Shavasana or join me if you'd like. We'll inhale here together and exhale the sound of Om to unite our community. Peace, 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 and perfect peace. We've reached the end of our practice. I encourage you to extend this as long as you need to, or gently wake your body up and move on with the rest of your day. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me today, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.